From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, renewing your car registration can be easy as logging onto the BMV's website, but lots of people are falling for phony sites. We're working for you to help you spot the fake sites so you don't waste your money. And a brave little guide to his family's rescue, how he helped send some intruders scrambling away from his home.
Well, topping our lineup, the online holiday shopping season is in full swing already. Some big sales even set for this week. But we have what you need to watch for to make sure you're not going to be scammed online. How about this mysterious situation happening across the country? Birds just dropping dead out of the sky. What experts say could be behind this issue. And some of those still going to the workplace say they're being retaliated against for raising safety concerns. We'll talk about the action that OSHA is taking to address these problems.
During this pandemic, many of us are trying to avoid long waits in a crowded room, such as the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. So lots of us are trying their online services. John Matteries has a caution so you don't waste your money.
Need to renew your license plate soon, but you don't want to stand in line with lots of other drivers during a pandemic, so you may decide to renew online. But beware. Facing lines like this when DMV and BMV offices reopened this year.
D579.
So how long you have to wait to take your driver's test?
Ain't no telling.
Many drivers decided to opt for this instead, online renewals. But the Better Business Bureau now says many drivers, like Ted Hicks, are ending up ripped off by look-alike websites.
So I go in and just click all the radio buttons and renew.
But he was charged over $100 by some out-of-state company. And the BBB says more and more people are ending up on fake state sites when they Google for license plate or registration renewals. So from the Doesn't That Stink file, what happens if you visit a look-alike motor vehicle site? You may get your plates renewed, but you can be charged another $25 to $100 for them to do it for you. And that stinks. The FTC this year sued the Florida company behind dozens of look-alike websites like online DMV services. But many still have the state's name on their website, so look for the fine print that says it's not affiliated with any government agency. When you visit a motor vehicle site for the first time, inspect it carefully to make sure it's really a state site so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, WRTV.
I don't think it's unreasonable if we just spend the rest of the newscast watching it rain. It has been so long. You're seeing raindrops as we look to the west with our Weather Now camera. This brief heavy downpour will move out. There'll be more that come back in, I think, to the metro area. Now,
this is like breaking news for us.
I know, it is.
This is huge.
In LA, when it doesn't rain for a long period of time, the roads get slick, right? When you have that first rain.
I haven't seen Kevin this excited in a long time, so.
Well, hopefully you guys are at home as well. Let me show you the north view, and enough to get things wet downtown and perhaps end our streak with 1/10 of an inch or less in any one day over the last 54 days. Here are other downpours. Hopefully you get one at your house. There's 3 different lines here, all moving to the east, northeast, and the main impacts here would be the brief heavy downpours and wind gusts to 30 to 40 miles per hour. You see some heavier rain there just northeast of Noblesville. Then you come down toward Fisher, may reach Fortville as well. Castleton on the northeast side, Fort Bend. There's some heavy rainfall headed toward Greencastle and Cloverdale. It's been a long time since we could point that out. Temperatures will take a big hit. Kokomo tells the story there at 57. Muncie, false confidence at 77. Cooler air is on the way.
There is a surge of coronavirus cases right now in 5 states. It's a story that tops our news feed that cases are up at least 50% in only a week in Montana, New Mexico, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Vermont. The U.S. is paying millions of dollars to AstraZeneca to produce an antibody treatment similar to one President Trump received. This deal worth $486 million for the company to make 100,000 doses. And President Trump again flagged by Twitter for misleading tweets. He's tweeted that he's now immune to coronavirus. The CDC says no survivor of COVID-19 should consider themselves immune. Well, those in charge of the race for a COVID-19 vaccine are trying to keep the process transparent.
Those checks aren't just critical to the development of a safe and effective vaccine, although they are. They're also essential to maintaining and inspiring the public trust.
Johns Hopkins and the University of Washington hosted a virtual symposium. Dr. Anthony Fauci took part, as well as the head of Operation Warp Speed, which is the public-private partnership that's overseeing COVID vaccine therapies. Now, he's vowed to resign if there is political pressure trying to impact whether the vaccine is safe and effective.
We expect them to read out or have a first look at their efficacy outcome within the next 7 weeks. Nobody can really say when, but the expectation would be that this would happen between the month of November and December.
Now, there are detailed plans and protocols at some 25 manufacturing sites across the U.S. Independent experts with decades of experience in Ebola, Zika, and HIV did give some perspective on these COVID-19 vaccine trials.
And we use 30,000. If you actually calculate how many is needed for efficacy, most companies would do it around 15,000. But we fortunately have the funding to be able to do larger trials.
The experts promised that phase 3 trial data would be publicly vetted during a broadcasted advisory committee meeting. You can watch this full symposium. There's a lot of information that came out of it on Johns Hopkins University's YouTube page right now. Cyber experts have been warning about increases in attacks and possible attempts to interfere with the election. Now, Microsoft says it stopped an enormous malware network, and it took a new legal approach to do it. They got a federal court order and worked with telecom companies around the world to disable servers that were associated with what's called trick bots. All right, we got more to get to in our lineup today. The online holiday shopping season is in full swing with some big sales set for this week. So we're going to take a look at what you need to watch for to avoid being scammed online. A cybersecurity company is concerned with an upcoming Amazon Prime shopping event. Checkpoint researchers found a significant increase in the number of website domains registered using the word Amazon and Prime, and more than a quarter are considered malicious.
The user might not realize that it's a fake website because hackers usually do a really good job of imitating the look and feel of the website that they're trying to come off as.
Checkpoint says look for the little lock icon next to a website's address. Also check for the additional letter S after HTTP. Those both indicate a reliable site.
This is just something that is making the website a little bit more secure. So if you're seeing HTTP without the S, that means that you're missing that added layer of encryption, that added layer of security.
Also, really good rule of thumb, don't overshare online. You should never have to enter your birthday or social security number just to buy something. Also, they say avoid public Wi-Fi when you're shopping, and it's a good idea to reset your Amazon password before you shop Prime Day sales.
If your password and email for one account got leaked and it's the same one as your Amazon account, a hacker can take that and test it out.
Also, you want to be really leery of emails or text messages about Amazon Prime Day or any events in general. Links often take you to malicious sites, so it is best to just go through the app or just go to the website itself. Now, Walmart is already starting its Black Friday sales of sorts. Those deals will run through Thursday. Target and Best Buy also have their own special sales this week. The main difference between these three and Amazon is they are offering curbside or in-store pickup as well as the online shopping. All right, next to our lineup, it's a mysterious situation that is happening across the country. Birds just dropping out of the sky dead. What experts say could be behind this problem. A Texas man is suing a police department for $1 million after officers led him through town on horseback. The story tops our news feed. The officers arrested Donald Neely for criminal trespass. This case was dismissed. He's accusing the officers of extreme and outrageous conduct. Protesters in Portland, Oregon, pulling down statues of Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt. Protesters had organized for a day of rage against Columbus Day. They later went and smashed windows at a historical society. A federal judge allowing extended ballot counting in Minnesota. The ruling lets absentee ballots be counted up to 7 days after the election. Voting rights groups were concerned that the pandemic would hurt people's ability to vote. Now, the number of eligible Latino voters has never been as high as it is right now. But many say they don't feel invited to participate by the presidential candidates. Gabby Rodriguez takes a look at why the younger Latino population may be the key to increasing Latino voter turnout overall.
El Paso, Texas, oftentimes referred to as two countries with one heart. The city has been through a lot.
We have to educate our population on how important it is that our voices be heard.
On this day, it was the last day to register to vote in Texas. Latino voters have been referred to as the sleeping giant, and recent numbers from a Pew Research study support the idea. There are 5.6 million registered Latino voters in Texas and millions others in states like California, Florida, New York, and Arizona. Volunteers at key locations in town like this food pantry are asking drivers of every car stopping by if they're registered to vote and answering questions. Dora Ramirez was picking up food at the pantry on this day. She wastes no time telling you how she feels as a Latina voter.
Devalued. I mean, we are, like you said, the largest minority vote in America. And yet, we are so marginalized.
One of Dora's major concerns heading into the election, health and the economy.
If you don't have a healthy population, how do you expect to have a healthy economy?
The feeling of exclusion is being felt across the country. In San Diego County, Juan Vargas says he's not as civically engaged.
Locally, I feel like I have a voice just because it's a little easier to get involved, but nationally there isn't that same attraction.
Former Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke is seeing a lot of the same as he and his team at Powered by People try to engage voters throughout the state of Texas. He holds hope in seeing a particular group stepping up.
And those young people, I really believe, are not only going to vote in record numbers, but they're getting their folks and their grandparents and the people in their lives to vote as well.
I know that I now have more of a voice than I did 2 years ago.
Miranda Escobar Gregory is a first-generation Mexican-American, challenging her parents' political views and educating her family and peers on the voting process.
If we have a strong presence in this country, why are we not using our voice to represent us and letting other people do it for us?
All my emails, vote, register, now. Yeah, they're tired of me.
A worthwhile risk, she says, if it will give her community the opportunity of being heard and awakening the sleeping giant. In El Paso, Gabby Rodriguez reporting.
A frightening story told firsthand by a South Bend mom and her brave young son. 4 men were caught on tape bursting into their home, at least 3 of those men holding guns. The video, which very quickly went viral, was posted by police to try to get more leads on this case. And many who watch it are commenting on the bravery of a little boy trying to fight back. Tamika Reed says her main objective was to keep her kids safe, but her 5-year-old son, David, did his best to fight back.
I'm just, my whole thing was my hero right here. He was steady trying to hit the guys. My thing was, I need to get him out the house before they do something to my son.
Hit him.
Yep.
I tried to throw my car at them.
Brave little dude. When the intruders left, no one was hurt and nothing was taken. But South Bend police are saying for this family, justice needs to be served. Detectives say they don't have any suspects right now. Kevin, we are getting some rain in Indianapolis.
Well, remember when I wanted to bring the whole newscast to a screeching halt just to stare at the rain? Look now.
Very true. True story.
This is from Speedway to downtown. The rain has let up. At one point, you couldn't see a few blocks. Let's show you another tower cam view as we chase these downpours around. We're out in Putnam County now, kind of looking to the southwest over some of the campus buildings there at DePaul. Here's the rain moving from southwest to northeast, but it is racing along. If you just step outside and look up, you can see the clouds on the move as the winds are strong. That's why we may have some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. That rain is crossing 231. We'll give you a larger view here. The leading edge of the temperature change is now east of Indianapolis. Once that goes through, you'll probably lose 10 degrees or more in about an hour's period of time. The back edge of all the rain stretches from just around Linton and Bloomfield up toward Greencastle and then east of Crawfordsville and Lafayette, moving to the east. There's the thin ribbon of cooler air, rain-cooled air. Temperatures for us will bounce back above 70 tomorrow. The rain ends this evening. Temperatures tomorrow with sunshine, late morning 57, afternoon high temperature right around 70 degrees. We'll follow the showers and look toward the end of the week when I come back.
Right now, there is a mystery taking place over the southwest United States. Birds have been falling out of the sky and dying. And we're talking thousands of them in just the past few months. Dan Grossman shows us that figuring out why this is happening and how to stop the problem from spreading is a top priority for biologists.
Among the trees,
90% of birding is by ear.
Allison Holleran lets her senses consume her.
I let my ears guide my eyes, 100%. Just hear that.
Wonder drives her enthusiasm.
There's a goldfinch.
It also drives her concern.
I actually got emails from Texas and New Mexico as well, where they are also seeing larger number of die-offs.
Since the beginning of September, dead birds have been found across Colorado, Texas, Arizona, and especially New Mexico, where the most have been found.
Really strange. Literally birds dropping out of the sky.
Experts like Allison, who heads Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah's National Audubon Society, say the numbers could be in the hundreds of thousands.
Climate change seems to be playing a factor in why this event happened, and it was certainly something went wrong this year.
This is a very strange event.
Travis Duncan is with Colorado Parks and Wildlife. He's been looking into the incident along with teams of biologists from other states and says the die-offs are likely due to several factors, including an early season cold front, drought, and the wildfires raging across several western states.
Heavy smoke from the wildfires may have played a role in creating navigation challenges for the birds.
He says it may have caused the birds' main food source, insects, to die off, forcing these birds to migrate without enough fat and weight to keep them safe once the cold front hit.
This is a web of life, so you pull one little string and the whole rope is going to move.
Right now, it is all conjecture as these teams analyze these birds to make a final determination. But Allison says it's concerning since she sees birds as a barometer for us all.
If birds are doing well, we are going to do well.
I'm Dan Grossman reporting.
Dan, thank you. And Allison says planting plants indigenous to your home area can be a big help to birds who use them for shelter and protection during extreme weather events. Carnival Cruise Lines is canceling more trips scheduled for this year. Now, it was supposed to set sail in November from 2 Florida ports. Now, guests can either get a credit or a full refund. Carnival cruises are still planned for December out of Port Canaveral and Miami. Meanwhile, the CDC's no sail order will continue until the end of October. Well, another blow from Mother Nature to the people of the Gulf Coast. The story starts our newsfeed. Hurricane Delta hitting Louisiana Friday night. Hundreds of people are in shelters today. Many are still recovering from Category 4 Hurricane Laura less than 2 months ago. Now, as we get into flu season, there are concerns about the combination of the flu and coronavirus. Mexico now has its first case of someone with both. The patient is a 54-year-old woman who doctors say has several pre-existing conditions. Well, the race to a vaccine could put many sharks in danger. Several vaccines require a compound found in shark livers. Conservation groups are concerned that 500,000 sharks could be killed as scientists work towards a vaccine. Now, finally, in our lineup, some of those still going to the workplace say they are being retaliated against for raising safety concerns. The action OSHA is taking to address these issues. Workers have a right to safety by law. An advocacy group claims its new report proves those laws are not being enforced. The National Employment Law Project analyzed OSHA data from April to early August, and it found more than 1,700 workers filed complaints saying their employer retaliated against them for raising coronavirus safety concerns. NELP tells us they've even heard from workers who asked for masks and were fired. More than half of the complaints were dismissed without investigation. 2% were investigated and resolved by OSHA.
Instead of an agency that's there to assure that workers have a safe workplace, it's there to assure that, large employers that want to violate the law, that they get off the hook.
Debbie Berkowitz is one of the authors of the report. She worked at OSHA under the Obama administration, and she says that the agency should have acted with emergency temporary standards for safety during this pandemic.
But instead, the administration has done almost no enforcement in this pandemic to protect workers against employers that flagrantly violate the CDC guidelines, because they're just guidelines. They're not mandatory.
Berkowitz thinks that there would be more complaints if workers felt protected. Now, if you're punished for speaking up, she says you should still file a complaint with OSHA within 30 days. Now, even if it's dismissed, she's still advocating for people to share their stories.
We need to understand what working people are facing, especially our essential workers who are working outside of the home. And we need to make sure that we're protecting these workers.
Now, in a statement to the Washington Post, OSHA said it is committed to these investigations. The agency says the amount of closed complaints related to the coronavirus have been consistent with its normal average. Intelligence officials say we can expect criminals to try to mess with the upcoming election using cyber attacks, and their targets aren't just computers that count votes. Tomorrow, how voter registration databases are becoming a target and what's being done to thwart the criminals' plans.
As we speak, temperatures are falling across central Indiana. We were in the 70s last hour, 57 in Indy right now, while it's 76 in Muncie. Why is this happening? A cold front is moving through central Indiana and generating some rain as well. We'll focus on those downpours coming up in the next half hour. That's all for the news at 5:30. The news at 6 starts right now.